Welcome to the Natural History Cupboard. Come on in.
And welcome back to the best natural history podcast on the internet, the Natural History Cupboard, the place where the weird and wonderful parts of the natural world come together. I'm your host for this week again, Aaron, and with me, as has been for the last couple of weeks, actually, is Drew. Pleasure to have you back in here.
Thank you.
How's it going?
I'm well. How are you?
All right. I feel like I'm really projecting my voice quite loud.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and I'm not. Yeah,
I'm
there
shouting
we go. It's the shouty podcast.
Welcome back to the cupboard, Drew. So how's it going? What's it been like this week?
Busy all week, as always has been. I do have a quick sort of disclaimer for ragwort.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The previous episode.
It turns out it's an absolute bust of fun. It was everything. No, I was sent a message, or we were sent a message actually on the our podcast page with that links to quite an extensive report. It's 122 pages long. I think about 40 pages are citations, but it's still quite long. I didn't read all of it, but I did go through and I read the introduction and stuff like that. I'm going to link it into the description because that report is possibly less biased than my own perspective. I tried to do something balanced, but obviously, we're pro rewilding, we're pro nature and conservation. Everyone's got their bias. And also, I will stress that we're not anti-horse by any stretch.
I think you made that clear in the episode.
I hope so.
I think you did.
I did edit out the bit, however, where we did say how much we liked horses because it was getting so long.
Maybe it wasn't clear.
So it might not have been.
And now you're asking them to trust us.
Yeah, I'm asking you to trust it. That we did. It was so long. The ragwort feature was so long that I had to really cut and chop. So on that bit, because we did express,
we did wax
how cool horses are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you watched that episode and thought, oh, I've got a particular bias, I'm going to put up this report. I'll try and link it on the previous episode, so I think I can edit the comments on that, and put it on there. So have a read through there, check to see if you found cross-reference me if you feel like it. One thing I did note though, it might be my confirmation bias, but it did seem to confirm a fair few things that I said. Maybe not as exact specific numbers, but it did also say that we are, and it's something I didn't go into on the episode at all, is that we are the only country apart from Ireland that seems to have a problem, or it seems to be within law. Every other country across ragwort's natural range, because it is invasive to America and Australia and New Zealand where it is a problem, they don't really seem to have much of an issue there. It's just considered part of their natural flora. Yeah,
this might be my confirmation bias.
Yeah.
That proves my point that it's not the horse people that are the problem.
It's the British. It's the British people. Yeah,
we have to have an enemy.
Yeah,
and it has to be with extreme prejudice. It can never be that's different. It has to be that is my enemy.
Yes.
And then it's propaganda. Sorry, I'm not going to go on my whole rant. We'll have people messaging in saying, "Why is Aaron so
anti-British,
anti-patriotic?"
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all I really want. There's a lot there, to be honest. But just disclaiming for myself from ragwort. I'll put this report up. Do feel to read all 122 pages if you like, or at least just the introduction. But in terms of what I've done, I went for a walk down to the East Lynn, East and West Lynn actually. So this is another little, because he's not here again.
All right.
Another little dig at Gareth. Sorry, Dipper.
Oh dear.
It doesn't take much effort, honestly.
You saw Dipper, and let me guess, you got home and your witters had bread?
Yeah, I got home, all my witters are bread.
Yeah. I don't have witters and they've bred.
Yeah.
And
my tuataras.
Yeah.
They've all bred.
Yeah.
Some have bred, made hybrids.
With the witters?
Yeah.
With the taras?
Yeah, wetataras, yeah.
Yeah. My flock of kakapos very healthy right now.
They're really prolific out there,
yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be angry.
Well, yeah. But that's another dipper. Easy to spot, and it's a little youngster as well. Put a video up. Little youngster, and he's practicing his dipping.
Practicing the dipping.
His bobbing.
He's not a dipper yet. He's like a Padawan dipper.
Yes.
Yeah. Soon he'll be dipping.
Soon he will be
double
dipping. Well, hopefully not. No. I don't know where you're going with that, but
I was thinking of chips.
Oh, okay.
But other thoughts into my head.
Sure. Perhaps. Yes. What about your week?
Crikey. My week was pretty simple. Hung out a bit down by the river. That was nice. Again, lots of those damselflies there. Unfortunately,
Yes.
accompanied, I say unfortunately, and this might be relevant to a question we have coming up in the near future. A lot of horseflies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a
Yep.
lot of horseflies. Yeah, but other than that, not much. Still just kind of working away on the van, which kind of keeps me away from doing too much in the natural world right now. And I gave Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a try last night, which was pretty epic.
Does it involve Brazil nuts?
It
Or
doesn't.
or chocolate?
No,
Neon Tetras?
it doesn't.
No, none of them.
None of them. None of the above.
How can it be Brazilian?
I don't know. Now you've made me question everything.
Yeah.
But this week is Shark Week.
Yes.
And for once, because we have a bit of a bad habit with Shark Week, when we tried the first 2 years, do you remember we released them? It's all perfectly timed, except for we got the wrong date, so it came out at the end of Shark Week.
Yes. I think we've actually only done one Shark Week. I thought we tried to do a second.
We've done one, but then and that came out late. The second one was coming, and we thought we had it all dated. Oh, actually,
yeah, and it was way
I thought we had it dated correctly,
yeah,
and it was like 2 weeks late.
Yes,
which was as you say,
we've got our dates on this week.
So yeah, we made a special. We had a year or two off just to make sure that we understood how calendars
work. And it's the first week of July. Shark Week is the first week of July.
We feel pretty confident that we've got it this year.
Yes, today's the 1st of July. So we think we're in the first week of July.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into some oceanic species here that we don't get enough sharks to sing the praise of. We've done a few in the past, but yeah, let's dive on into Shark Week.
It's the creature feature.
And welcome into our oceanic, watery collection of creature features, because it is the Shark Week special. So each of us have chosen a shark to spotlight for the week. And on that note, when I say each of us, I do in fact mean all three of us. Gareth can't be here with us in person. However, last time he was in the cupboard, we took the time to pre-record his so that he could be part of this shark special too, because we know that sharks are pretty important to him too. But with that said, we're going to jump right on into it. All right, so for my entry into this Shark Week special, I'm going to take a look at the Baron of the Brine, the Palatinus of the pelagic.
Oh, that sort of Baron. I thought you meant the other Baron.
No.
A Baron as in a title.
As in a title, yes. Just like my third one, the Count of the Coast.
Yes,
I tried to be a little bit clever with
the that. Duke of the Deep.
The Duke of the Deep. That's a good one. Yeah. But I am, of course, talking about the great white shark. This large member of the mackerel shark order is arguably I can't say the word arguably. It's arguably the best. I didn't say it again. It's one of the best known sharks of all kind of shark kind.
Arguably, it would be,
Yeah. Well done.
Thanks.
Debatably. It serves as the quintessential ingredient in pop culture nightmare fuel, and has done so for about 50 years this year. Steven Spielberg's classic movie Jaws turns 50 years old in December this year, I think.
Wow.
In fact, it is through this movie that the great white shark gets its notorious reputation of being a man-eater. But are these unrelenting, merciless, bloodthirsty killers of human bathers that Jaws and modern-day media makes them out to be, or are they something else entirely? With that in mind, it's time to play some games. So, the games.
It's game time.
It's game time. There's 3 rounds with questions, and they're all slightly different format. So the first round is a familiar round. It should be familiar to you, and it's probably familiar to our kind of more British follower base. But it is a fun one. Totally ripped off from Mock the Week.
Okay,
It's a round called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question?
Sure, okay.
It's a round. I've always wanted to do this with you guys, but finally going to get to do it. So I'm going to give you a 1-word or equivalent answer, and I want you to come up with the question for it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, very good.
So first one up. 351, if that's the answer.
What's the question? Is that the number of days of the year where there hasn't been a shark attack? A great white shark attack?
Oh, that's not a bad answer. It's not the answer, but it's not a bad answer. The answer is, how many unprovoked white shark attacks have there been since records began?
Oh, okay, yes.
Since records began,
Yep.
only 351.
Right.
Number two, question number two.
Yeah.
If this is the answer, what is the question? 10 foot / 3 meters.
Is the size of the great white shark's genitals?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. I was really hedging on my bets on that one. 10 foot to 3 meters.
Mhm.
Is that the size of a mature shark?
No.
A mature great white shark? No.
Good guess, though.
Is that the recommended social distancing that you should have from a great white shark? Okay.
No, this is, of course, the distance by which a great white shark can clear the water when it breaches.
Oh, okay.
It often happens in a hunt if they're coming up from below.
Yep.
And they hit the seal into the air. They come out about 10 foot. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
And the final one of this round, pate.
Pate.
If this is the answer, what is the question?
What have you cooked for us tonight? Whilst we record, a lovely great white shark fin pate.
Shark fin pate. No?
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't.
Do they?
No, I'm stumped for that one.
Okay. This is, of course, what the orcas are after. What do orcas make from their white shark kills? So when a white shark's own predator, the orcas, make a successful kill, their only interest is the liver. The rest of the is left to other far less fussy diners.
Yeah.
They are very fussy animals. Okay, so round number two.
Yep.
This round is over or under. I've kind of done this with you guys a little bit before, but basically the gist is and again, this has been completely ripped off from another show. This one's come from the John Campier show. Yep. I'm going to ask you a question and I'm going to set a number, and I want you to tell me if you think the truth lies somewhere over or under that number.
Yeah. Okay. I want to be able to channel the audience in this. When you answer me the question, and I want the audience to shout at me and go over. or the opposite.
Sound effects.
Yeah. So yes,
question number one.
I'm going to channel them like sort of James McAvoy, Professor.
Let us know how you get on with these questions at home.
Yeah.
So, of the 351 documented occurrences of unprovoked great white shark attack, how many were fatal? Over or under 220? It's under.
Yeah.
Of the 351 attacks since records began, as of last year, only, so that's 2024, only 59 people have been killed by great white sharks. So, question number two. How many sharks are killed by people in a single year? Over or under 100,000?
Just sharks across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Over or under 100,000 is way under.
Way under.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's an option to put like a degree of under.
A degree of under.
But we're going away under.
It doesn't matter because you're wrong. It's over.
Oh, sorry.
100 million.
I misheard the question. I was so I thought you said number of people killed by sharks. Just sharks across the board.
Number of sharks killed by people in a single year. 100 million sharks are killed by people each year. Yeah. About 23 to 73 million are done for shark finning. The rest is basically used for meat produce, to get the oils or the cartilage. It's also down to accidental bycatch, and habitat destruction also plays a pivotal role in that.
I know it's a bit of a cop-out to say I misheard the question, so I'm going to stick with what I said, and I lost. It's all right.
Yeah, you can make it up on this one, perhaps.
Yeah.
How long can a great white shark live for? Over, under 30 years? Over, yeah. We know males can reach 73 years of age. Yeah, it's unlikely that females will be much different, despite the oldest female studied after death being in her 40s.
Unless they're like chameleons. In which case the males live really long and the females are really short.
And chameleons won't be the only ones that do that.
No.
You can basically tell how old a shark is by counting the rings on their vertebrae. Obviously, they need to be dead for this. But you can count the number of rings on the vertebrae the same way you count the number of rings on a tree. Yeah. Which, incidentally...
And they predate trees. They predate trees. Sorry,
exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah. So trees learn.
Yeah.
Trees learn this.
They did.
I like what the sharks are doing with the rings.
Yeah. That's exactly what's
I'm
happening.
going to do that.
Final question of the over or under round.
Yeah.
How many teeth does a great white shark possess? Over or under 160?
This may show my ignorance, but I think they're infinite.
Yeah. Okay. So not counting.
Oh, sorry, not
counting that they can
replaceable.
replace them. Yeah.
I see. At one time, how many teeth have they got in their mouth? Over 160. Yeah, probably over.
Over?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, over. White sharks are armed with 300 teeth, all of which are on a constant, as you say, constant conveyor belt of replacement. They're also, I don't know if you knew this bit, they're really flexible.
That's a good thing for a tooth, isn't it?
Depends. Depends what you're going to use it for. Yes, so they are actually really flexible. They act sort of like fingers to feel things out.
Yeah, okay.
This is important because obviously white sharks don't have hands and fingers to explore things. But this is actually.
I didn't know that. That you should have had that as a question.
New information.
Yeah, that's new information.
This is actually what leads to a lot of bites.
Yes.
Because it's not just humans that get bit. Buoys, paddle boards, surfboards, all manner of things get bitten, and they're not actually biting to attack. They're biting to explore it, work out what this new thing
with
is.
their finger teeth.
Very much like very much like what a baby does.
Yeah.
A newborn baby would do.
Yeah, and snakes.
And snakes. Yeah. Okay, so we're now moving.
Snakes don't have hands. I don't know if that's a fact.
That is a fact.
That's a straight fact right here in the cupboard.
Only the best here. We're into round 3 now. This is the true or false round.
You've stolen that from true and false rounds.
I did, yeah. I have stolen. None of these are original ideas. Very self-explanatory. I'm going to read you a statement. You'll tell me if it's true or false.
Yeah.
Great white shark blood can kill other sharks.
Oh, wow. True.
True?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true.
Is it?
Yes, it is. So great white shark blood is actually highly toxic. It's riddled, loaded with heavy metals.
Oh, really?
Like arsenic and mercury. Now, their body has some sort of adaptation. We're not really sure what, that allows their body to just deal with this and not be a problem. It's basically all the animals that they eat, fish and such, they have high levels of mercury in it. And I think it's called bioabundance. Or biocollecting or something. I can't remember the exact term. But basically, these sharks are eating all these mercury and arsenic loaded fish and other animals.
Yeah.
Seals, which are eating loads of fish themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's all kind of gathering in the great white shark. Their body can deal with it.
Yeah.
Our bodies can't. So maybe we should actually rethink what we eat. Considering a lot of the fish that the great white shark is eating are the same fish that we eat.
Sure.
But yeah, other sharks don't have that adaptation. So if a great white shark carcass is about, and the sharks eat from it, they can die of mercury poisoning or heavy metal poisoning.
It seems very spiteful for the great white shark, for its fellow sharks.
I don't know.
So presumably, crabs and other things are eating a shark's carcass.
Yeah,
a great white shark's carcass. Yes.
So, next question.
Yeah.
Like most fish, great white sharks are cold-blooded.
I don't think they are. I think they're warm-blooded. Yeah.
It's true. False. Great white sharks are endotherms, meaning that they can produce and maintain their own body heat. This makes them warm-blooded animals, just like all of us, all of you listening.
Well, we assume.
We assume, yeah. I mean, there could be the reptile people.
There could be.
Question number 3. Great white sharks have a sixth sense.
What, as in the psychic?
Not as in their psychic, but they have an extra.
As in the Haley Joel Osment.
No.
All sharks are Haley Joel Osment. I mean, I assume yes. I assume they've got a number of sensors, probably more than 6.
Yeah, there were. This one in particular is a really cool one. It is true. They can see and feel the electromagnetic pulse of everything around them.
They're magneto.
They're
all magneto.
They're magneto. Yeah.
They're all built up with fishy metals, and they're heavy metal themselves.
Yeah,
so they are magneto.
The everything in their environment, their prey, mates, everything gives off an electromagnetic pulse. Even the globe does, and they use this ability to significantly cut the energy expenditure it would require them to travel the vast distances that they do.
Oh, because like magneto, they just use the magnetic.
They just put their fins out like this. And
it pulls them.
And they pulled away, going, "We're the future orcas." With them.
Yes.
Yeah. They basically also use this as a second.
Get out of my head, Charles. That's what they're like.
But I get just a vision of Magneto's helmet on top of a shark now. What was I saying? It was something about a second sight that they use to protect. Oh yeah, so basically, when a great white shark is hunting, some people think they've got a nictitated membrane that
Right.
covers their eyes.
Yes.
They don't. What
Oh.
they do is they roll their eyes back in their skull, like the Undertaker from WWE.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they basically that protects their eyes from any damage, especially when you're talking about seals.
Yeah.
And they are seeing the image of everything around them in their head. And here comes another comic book reference,
Yeah.
very much like Daredevil,
Yes. Yeah.
where he's using echolocation, but they see electromagnetic
Wow.
pulse,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they can locate the seal above them with pinpoint precision.
Yeah.
That might
very
also
cool.
be why surfers are the ones that get attacked.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I assume they can't. Even with the sight, they would have trouble distinguishing the shape.
Yes, because sharks, I think great white sharks are colorblind.
Right.
At the very least, they have incredibly poor eyesight.
Yeah.
And so from below,
Well, they still got poor eyesight if they keep rolling their eyes into the back of their head.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I can't see.
So yeah, but when you see divers outside of shark cages, which is another thing altogether, I think that was my rant on the last shark special, so I won't go into it again. But when you see divers swimming around them, and there's no problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. They basically close their eyes and they see a magnetic pulse as they close in on their
Very
prey.
cool. Yeah.
So next question might be a bit of a controversial one, but it's true. That. Shark Week is a force for good that spreads positive awareness of sharks.
That's the most false thing I've ever heard.
It's super false.
That's like Nigel Farage based propaganda.
Absolutely. Right? Shark Week has historically spread fear through sensationalist pseudo-documentaries aimed at feeding the human drive for scary media content, similar to how horror movies work.
Yeah.
Traditionally, Shark Week content, conceptualized in 1988 by the Discovery Channel, typically gives airtime to more mockumentaries than actual valuable and respectable documentaries. The point of our show is to be a voice that combats this.
Yes.
But now, that's the end of the quiz round.
Oh, very good.
Back to the main bit of the feature now, though. Drew, are you aware of the name meaning for this species?
What great white shark?
Great white shark, or its binomial name?
So, which is Kakara something, Kakaradon something.
Caradon Kakarias, or something like that.
So, Kaka means something to do with... No, Don means tooth, and Kaka just means shark, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does it basically just mean shark tooth?
Yes.
Big shark boy.
There's a bit of a confusion in the kind of the ancient languages.
Okay.
We'll get onto, but we'll start with great white shark itself. It essentially refers to its status as a shark, of course, but also the white underside.
I know what the words great and white mean, but
you know what the great. Well, you're British, so do you, I have to make sure that we understand this. What does great mean to you?
Great means big.
Yeah, thank you.
It doesn't mean
mean awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, Great Britain, ladies and gentlemen, means a little bit bigger than Brittany.
It means awesome Britain. Yeah.
So great white shark basically means it's a shark with a white underside, and the fact that it is larger than the oceanic white-tipped shark that was traditionally called the lesser white shark.
Oh, really? Okay.
The great white shark and the lesser white shark. In fact, most scientists nowadays just call the great white shark white sharks because oceanic white tip has been adopted more widely for the lesser white shark. So yeah, that's what their name means. Now, their binomial name, on the other hand, Kakaradon Kakarius. I've asked you what you think. You said shark tooth. It might sound like it's the familiar kind of bear or gorilla thing going on.
Yes.
But actually, it is a little different. Kakaradon is a portmanteau of two ancient Greek words. Kachar, which means sharp.
Okay.
Not shark.
Yeah.
And don, meaning tooth.
It's only one letter out, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we move on to the specific part of this name, Kakarias, this is actually the Latinized corruption of that ancient Greek karcha.
Right, okay.
And that does mean shark.
Right.
So it basically means, in ancient Greek and Latin, it means sharp-toothed shark.
Right.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to test to see which species don't have sharp teeth.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what their name means.
Seems reasonable.
They are, in fairness, when we say great, they are massive creatures. Whilst males may only push about 4 meters, which is 13 foot, and weigh up to 771 kilograms, which is 1,700 pounds, females are notably bigger, measuring up to 5 meters, 16 foot, and weighing a whopping 1,110 kilograms at the kind of upper bracket, which is 2,450 pounds. The record holder was, in fact, a female that was much larger than this. She was 6.1 meters and roughly 1,905 kilograms, or
big girl.
20 foot and 4,200 pounds. That is huge. The only members of their extended relatives that can kind of dwarf a full-grown female great white shark are, in order of size, whale sharks, basking sharks, giant manta ray. Now, what did you notice about, if we include great white sharks, what do you notice about those 4 species?
Well, then, I mean, they are carnivorous, but they're all filter feeders.
All except the great white shark.
Yes.
Which, that's exactly right. They're filters, and this makes the great white shark, or the white shark, as we should probably start trying to call it.
You said filters.
Filters, did I? Filter feeders.
Yeah.
They're filter feeders, and that makes the great white shark the largest kind of actively predatory fish going, basically.
Well, but the others you could consider predators as well.
They are predators, but
you say actively?
Actively,
that's fair.
I certainly think
the basking shark is anything but active.
The whale shark as well. They're kind of very passive filter feeders.
Yeah.
The giant manta ray it's actually an animal I want to do a creature feature on, because
I think you should.
I love the look of them,
but
I actually don't know much about them. So it would be a learning curve, opportunity for me too. I know more about some of the other rays, but not the giant manta, even though the giant manta is the one that kind of attracts me the most.
Sure.
But I could go into their hunting behaviors, but it's been pretty well documented. Discovery Channel has you covered if you want anti-shark propaganda shoved in your face. And Sir David Attenborough approaches it quite predictably, I suppose, with more grace and respect. What I don't see a lot of, actually...
He is predictable in that, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, You know you're going to get something nice.
Basic. From David.
It's good, mate. It's good basic. You know you're safe. You know you're going to get
do
and warm.
You do, yes. It is a safe space.
I don't think that even like kind of David Attenborough documentaries don't seem to cover, and for good reason. There's not much known. They don't get to cover much on their breeding, their reproductive kind of behaviors. So I wanted to look more into that, because you guys can find hunting anywhere.
Sure.
Just make sure you get it from David Attenborough and not or similar, and not from Discovery Channel. So if gestation and maturation are indicators of potential intelligence, which there is evidence of, then the great white shark could be smarter than what people give it credit for. Males mature.
I don't know. I've met some people with lots of kids, and they're not.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Well, there's always exceptions to the rule. Males mature at 26 years old, which is about right for a human too. Human male.
For sure. Well, if anything, maybe too early.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, perhaps. Females, on the other hand, they can't breed until they're around the age of 33.
Oh, wow.
So they're really slow at maturing. Now, once mature, our understanding, basic and riddled with gaps though it may be, is that they mate in shallower water away from busy feeding areas, which makes sense. You don't want to be giving birth but basically you're providing all the other members of your species in the area with a all you can eat buffet.
Yes.
So you don't want to be birthing in busy kind of hunting lanes. During mating, the two sharks will engage in a rolling dance. So they do have a mating ritual of sorts, which is nice. And whilst doing this, they will maintain belly-to-belly contact throughout. Successful pairings will result in an 11-month long gestation period. So again, you've got a long maturation period
Yep.
and a long
Long
gestation
gestation.
period. Being ovoviviparous, I almost got that word right for the first time ever.
Yeah, I think
Never been
you
able
went
to
in
do
it with confidence,
Yeah.
and I was really proud of you. And then you just
screwed it up.
then you I think you panicked.
I did. I panicked because I thought I was going to get it right.
You panicked. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm
You
going to have a
thought
second swing at it.
you thought I'm going to get this right, and therefore I need to panic.
As ovoviviparous animals, the mother great white shark will hatch her eggs in her womb.
Mhm.
The neonates will continue to develop here for the remainder of that phase of their life. They'll drink intrauterine milk, and they'll consume the unhatched eggs. And even theoretically speaking, again, we don't know this for sure, but there's enough kind of evidence to infer they're probably hunting and consuming their weaker siblings in there too. Mum will then give birth to live pups. Same. We did have a twin and a triplet.
Yeah.
They didn't make it. Mum will then give birth to live pups who are already well-versed hunters, obviously. They'll receive no maternal care from their mother, and they'll basically just go out into the wider world as tiny little...
Do they go out in nurseries? Do they have nurseries?
No,
they just go straight out.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, no nurseries.
Wow.
As far as I'm aware.
Yes. Okay.
Because, again, there's not a lot known.
Mhm.
In fact, birthing has never been observed.
Oh, wow, okay.
Until about 2 years ago.
Oh.
Almost the day that this podcast episode is released.
Wow.
So I think 2 years ago on the 9th, a large great white shark was filmed disappearing about a kilometre from shore. She just went down deep.
Weighed down by 11 months of gestation.
Yeah. Shortly afterwards, a much, much smaller shark appeared with all the clues hinting towards it being a newborn. It even had this membrane, which intrauterine milk. No, they thought it was intrauterine milk, a layer of it.
Yep.
And then I think they worked out that it was like this protective kind of membrane over them that and it sheds off real quick once they're born.
So what you're saying is that we don't know,
and it's the only time the reason why they think that is because they've actually seen that plenty of other times in poor beagle sharks that are very similar.
Right. Fair. Well, yeah.
What's your question?
What you're saying is we don't know that she went down and a smaller shark came up. We don't know if they are actually immortal. And they shed their old adult bodies.
She's going down into a Lazarus pit.
Yeah.
Back like as a baby.
And they come back as a baby.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Or it could have been like one of those weird like Tom Hanks movies where they trade places. Is it called Big?
Yeah. Yes. We didn't know that film was about sharks. No,
we did not.
No.
It's a metaphor for part of life. Further observations since then have supported both the theory that this is a newborn and that the area may in fact be a birthing ground. Unfortunately, between the long periods of gestation and the megalong maturation periods and the ever-present shadow of human activity, white shark populations can't realistically cope with this pressure without our help. They are considered critically endangered in Europe and vulnerable to extinction globally. It's possible that across our vast oceans, only 3,500 individuals still swim.
Okay.
That rivals tiger numbers.
Yeah.
My hope is that by covering the white shark in this special, you might have a greater admiration for them and a little less fear, because they're not the killing machines that you tend to think of them as when you look at them in media or in pop culture. And in fact, there is a more gentler side to them, and even there's a lot of fascinating things about them, which hopefully I've conveyed. Because when you compare 59 fatal attacks on humans since records began to 100 million sharks being killed by us on a yearly basis, it's not difficult to see who the monsters really are.
Oh yeah.
So that's the great white shark.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. We'll move on into the next shark.
So next shark. That's right, boys and girls, and everyone who claims allegiance otherwise, it's hammer time. My shark is the beguilingly bizarre scalloped hammerhead. We've done a few sharks on the pod over the years. Not yet any of the hammerheads.
No, we haven't.
And do you know what? Last week in the ragwort one, when we were doing the shark question, you said hammerheads are one of your favourites. And you said that, and I was like, oh, God, but I'm doing one. I felt bad.
No, hammerhead is what I said about giant manta ray.
Yes.
the giant manta ray is my hammerhead for the race.
Right. Okay.
Hammerhead is the one I'm attracted to.
Yep.
As like someone who's interested in sharks, but it's probably one of the ones I know the least about.
They're an outlier. Oh.
But there's a few different species of hammerhead, isn't there?
Wow. Do you know how many species of hammerheads there are?
I think there are 5.
There's 10.
Oh wow! Okay, wow.
There's 10. 10 species of hammerhead.
Fair.
I don't have the list of all of them, but maybe I'll put on the YouTube. Maybe I'll put them all up. So I've seen it referenced that scalloped hammerheads, which is obviously what we're going to focus on, are the most common of hammerheads. However, don't let that fact deceive you. So 2 hammerheads of those 10 are listed on the IUCN as data deficient or not evaluated, and 1, the smooth hammerhead, is listed as vulnerable.
Right.
So 2 others are endangered, and the remaining 5, which includes our scallop hammerhead, are critically endangered. So none of them are doing particularly well.
Yeah.
Quick question to you. The most common hammerhead is critically endangered. Why is that? When a less common one is vulnerable.
I don't know. Maybe it's because of like how little data we have on them.
So
there's probably a more simple answer than that, though.
Yeah, I think so. Do you know how the IUCN does their ratings or their conservation statuses?
In what way?
As in how they evaluate them?
I'm not entirely sure because I thought I did until you asked me that.
Yeah, right. Should I tell you?
Yeah.
So it's because endangerment isn't necessarily about the number of individuals; it's about the rate.
The fecundity and
yes.
It's
about the trend of dropping a number.
I do know that, but I thought you were going down. No, I thought you were going down because, for example, with adders,
yes,
they're considered all right,
but locally,
they're they don't seem to take IUCN doesn't seem to take into account regionality.
Yes.
So okay,
I did know you knew that. She was trying to pip it out of you. But yeah, so it's about the rate of decline. So they are the most common hammerhead, but their rate of decline is so sharp that even though the smooth hammerhead is vulnerable and there are less of them, their decline isn't quite as sharp. That's basically what that means.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can safely say that all hammerhead sharks are in trouble. So I'm starting this one with the bad news, and we'll try and bring ourselves up here. So bring it back around to scalloped hammerheads. Do you know what their main threat is? You can go really basic. I'm
going to go with finning and bycatch.
Yeah.
Is it really? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Overfishing and bycatch is exactly that. So they're a commercially fished species,
right?
And they are sought after game fish by sport anglers. So the meat is sold, and scalloped hammerheads are highly prized for their fins. They make up to 5% of the shark fin market. Scalloped hammerheads. Hammerheads. Hammerheads overall make up 5%. Yeah. Unfortunately for the scalloped hammerhead, they aggregate in very large numbers.
Yes.
Which makes them vulnerable to long lines, to bottom nets, and to trawls. Do you know why they congregate?
Do I know why they congregate? I don't know.
No, okay. Well, we don't know.
I was going to I imagine that we
have absolutely no idea why they congregate in such large numbers, because they're mostly solitary, but they come together occasionally for reasons beyond our understanding at current. Could be a birthday party, could be a rally, could be market day, could be a religious gathering, it could be
the kind of famous kind of visuals of hammerheads. And again, I didn't know there were 10 species, so I can't even tell you what species it is. But when like beautiful, almost underwater murmuration of them,
and from underneath in particular.
One of my favorite. It's something I'd love to see in real life. Yeah,
we just don't know why they do it. But yeah, it could be something more sensible than all of the reasons that I stated, but and more practical to them. But who knows? But yeah, if you know where and when they're going to be, and you want to fish them, you could quite easily take out an entire population, whilst they're presumably having a party, which is extra sad.
You turn a birthday party into a wake.
Yes.
I can speak about that from experience. But there we go.
A birthday party into genocide. But yeah, I mean, this of course has happened several times, which is why we're at the conservation status that we're at. But that's all the bad stuff. So we've done that. We've covered it. Let's bear it in mind. But we're going to talk about the actual animal.
Okay.
So we should probably start with the eponymous hammer itself. It's all in the name with scalloped hammerheads. The hammer is scalloped. So that means the edge is a series of rounded projections with smaller notches in between, resembling a scallop. The head structure itself is called a cephalofoil. It has a number of features that give hammerheads a special advantages.
That's a cool name.
Yeah,
Cephalofoil.
I should have written down what that actually means.
Well, foil comes from, presumably, from hydrofoil or aerofoil.
Yes, yeah.
And then cephalo is like Pachycephalosaurus, the head. Yeah, that's a really cool name.
It was a foil that I couldn't remember, yeah. But yeah, it gives them a number of special advantages, as if sharks need really any more.
Yeah.
Because they're very good at what they do. So firstly, the shape of the head allows the animal to raise and turn it with less resistance. This was believed to be the main reason as to why they had it, but it seems that the structure of their vertebrae aid with this more than the actual head does. But it does help. Their nostril is also expanded compared to other sharks, which may provide a keener sense of smell. And the extended spacing, obviously between the eyes, gives the shark a 360 degree vision of the vertical plane, so they can see above and below them at all times. What's exactly above them, what's exactly below them. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Their binocular vision and depth perception is also enhanced by their eye position, and this is now believed to be the biggest advantage of this unique head shape. It's all about sight rather than flexibility necessarily. Next, the shape of the head allows them to house more electroreceptive organs too. So we've discussed these. They're called, do you remember? I think Italian.
Yeah. Ampullae of someone. Luigi?
Luigi.
Well, you said Italian.
That's it.
It's ampullae. I can hear Gareth saying it because he said it to me a couple of times in the past. It's ampullae of someone beginning with L, and you're right, it does sound Italian. It's not Luigi, I kid, but it is L.
It could be Luigi. No, it's Lorenzini.
It's what?
Lorenzini.
Yeah.
Yes.
Loren. Doesn't matter.
But
Lorenzini.
That guy. Luigi. Which obviously, when we did Words of the Week, we did ampullae of Lorenzini all that time ago. So they detect electric fields generated by living creatures, just like pretty much all other sharks, and by distributing the receptors over a wider area, so across the cephalofoil, you could say that hammerheads have a heightened sense or heightened shark sense.
Shark sense, I like that.
Yeah,
that's a cool way of naming it. That'd be a bit radar-y, wouldn't it? The way that
I guess so.
Work. Yeah. I mean, it's the same, but I mean, it's like you say, heightened. Yeah.
Yes.
Shark sense. I love that.
So basically, hammerheads are sharks, but extra.
Yeah.
So you may then ask, Aaron, could you read this question out for me?
If hammerheads are so great, why aren't all sharks hammerheads?
Well, that's not how evolution works, Aaron. I feel you should know that, really. I'm a bit irritated that you asked me that question.
You're dumb.
There's more than one path to success, Aaron. I don't need to spell this out for you.
Yeah. How could I be so stupid?
How could you be so stupid?
Damn it.
Yes, obviously, there's lots of different things that work. Hammerheads have got this thing. It works for them. Other sharks, I think, probably look at hammerheads and view them as, I quote, a bit much.
Yeah.
That's you're overcompensating.
Flamboyant.
Yeah. It's a bit too much, guys.
My genuine question is probably a stupid question, actually.
Not as stupid as that question. That was a stupid question.
Well, I think this one might be more so. Oddly enough, the hammer shape for a head than a shark doesn't seem to be like too weird to me. I can see the advantages of it.
Yeah.
My question is, and I think you may have already answered this when you came into like the eyesight element of it.
Yeah.
But when you think of like the shark's body line, unlike dolphins and unlike underwater mammals, cetaceans, where the tail fin, I think it's called a caudal fin, are on the horizontal plane.
Yes.
On sharks,
because mammals do that, and fish do that.
Fish do that.
Yeah.
When you
I should say for audio, mammals go up and down, fish go side to side.
Yeah, they work on the vertical plane, whereas fish, like sharks, work on
horizontal.
The horizontal plane. It just I wonder why the hammer evolved horizontally and not vertically.
I think because that would just be weird. Where would you put your mouth?
There is that, but if you imagine like a great white with
maybe it has been done.
Poor beagle with maybe because have you seen some of the sharks like the one that Gareth covered? We had the anvil
on his back,
dorsal fin. There's one I don't know if we've covered it
with the whirly,
the whirly That's one that I would like to cover if we haven't done.
Yeah.
There's loads of weird sharks.
So maybe that has been done.
Maybe.
And yes, and it
It's
just
more of a hammer because you can.
yes, you could bum instead of doing it off to the side.
Yeah.
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 Over billions of years of evolution, it's probably been done.
Maybe. Yeah.
And it got rejected.
Yeah.
It went, no, this isn't working.
This didn't work.
What are you doing?
Maybe it just
That was the pre-panda.
slowly started going like twisting and twisting and twisting and twisting.
Yeah.
Until it became horizontal.
Yes, maybe it started like
I don't think so.
So I think moving on.
Yeah.
Scalloped hammerheads are obviously otherwise shark-shaped.
Yeah.
They're very slender. They've got this brown bronze colouring. It's very, very nice on top, and it's white below, as pretty much all sharks have with the counter shading.
Yeah.
As stated, they feed on rays. They have been found with their mouths covered in stingray barbs, so we can imagine some of them have a real liking of stingrays, and they seem unaffected as well. They just don't care. But they do eat many other fish, particularly shoaling fish. Their mouths are smaller than other sharks, which may be the sort of penalty to the hammer shape, and that could limit their food intake in comparison. So they can't open their mouths quite as wide. But they're found globally in warm. This is scalloped hammerheads in warm, temperate, and tropical seas. So they're pretty much all the way around the globe, all in temperate and tropical.
I wonder if
seas.
that's the ones that we get in Gran Canaria then.
Maybe they don't come up as far as here for sure. I don't know. That's worth a look at.
We do have a hammerhead that comes up here, don't we?
Do we?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. There you go. Smooth hammerheads.
It is the smooth one.
They are occasional visitors.
Okay.
I knew that they weren't part of our the main 5 species that we get of kind of larger shark. But I did think that we did get something up here sometimes.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So one of the best places to see, not smooth, that's what you just said, the scalloped hammerhead, which is this one, and where they're protected is within the Galapagos Marine Reserve, particularly around the northern islands of Darwin and Wolf. They're one of those species. I didn't actually get to see them when I was out in Galapagos. It was one of those animals that I thought when I was doing my sort of Galapagos list or run, I thought, I should probably do the scalloped at some point. Here we are. 2 years later, we got there. But as it's Shark Week, and Shark Week is all about misinformation and saying that sharks are savage and horrific, we should quickly discuss attacks on humans for scalloped hammerheads. What do you reckon the rate is?
I don't think it's very high, but I have a feeling it might be higher than great whites because my statistic on great whites was factual, not media driven. It's factual one. And my understanding, as vague as my understanding on hammerheads, all hammerheads are, is that hammerheads are one of the more aggressive animals, the sharks.
Okay. So
since records began or yearly?
Oh, I don't actually have a number.
Oh, right, okay.
Because
there is no number.
I couldn't find a number.
Right,
it's basically very low, just very low.
Fair enough.
It's really rare that people get attacked by scalloped hammerheads.
I consider myself wrong on that question.
That's all right. So scalloped hammerheads have been implicated, but not confirmed in biting.
Right.
They are incredibly shy as a species. And so shy that they're difficult to study, but also because they've got small mouths relative to their body size, and they tend not to hunt prey much larger than stingrays. They're unlikely to show much aggression towards humans.
Yeah, never occurred to me to think of that. Whenever I've heard that they're genuinely, I've never thought
I've heard the same thing as well as you, that they're actually quite aggressive, and it doesn't seem
that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't seem to make sense.
But the penny has only just dropped that doesn't make
sense. Yeah.
Every day's a school day. That's cool.
Yes, but that's mostly an overview on scalloped hammerheads. So obviously they're critically endangered. Conservation efforts are being taken to protect the species, of course.
Right.
As of 2020, an estimated 1.3 to 2.7 million fins are collected each year from smooth and scalloped hammerhead sharks for shark fin trade, which is a lot. Genetic information has been obtained, though, from these fins to pinpoint where these sharks are being caught and to track their exploitation levels.
Right.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Marine protected areas and no fish zones, especially around the mangrove nurseries in which they breed, are all wading to this cause overall as well. So they have a gestation. Actually, because you've said about your great white shark's gestation, how long do you reckon a scalloped hammerhead's gestation is?
I'm gonna go with 9 months roughly.
9 months. Their gestation is actually 12 months. It's a month longer. It's a month longer than great whites, which I didn't know because I didn't know what great whites was.
Yeah.
But I did think that's a whole year. That's pretty long. And they produce large litters as well. So they produce 12 to 41 pups, which is very specific. All live birth, again, like lots of sharks. The juveniles live in these nurseries for about 3 years before they head out to the ocean.
I can understand why you asked the question now.
About the nurseries, yeah.
Yeah, but the difference that jumps out to me is that your hammerheads are being born amongst mangroves.
Yes.
Which there's ample opportunity to hide there and be protected. Whereas the great whites, it's in shallow water.
Yep.
Not far from the coast. I think it makes more sense for them just to disperse and be alone. So I'm now making inferring just from a comparison in a podcast, and we are nobodies.
Absolutely.
So this is just an inference, and if anybody here is like more clued in, not here, there's no one else in here, but if there's anybody that does listen to this that is more clued in on sharks, I would make the inference in that comparison that no, there's probably not great white nurseries.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Yeah,
it doesn't.
But it is why I asked about the scout, because I knew they did have nurseries, and
mangroves are a great place to have a nursery.
They are. Yeah. But yes, I mean they're relatively slow growing. Not, I guess, as slow growing as your guys though, because yours reach maturity at 33.
26 to 33. 26 for males, 33 for females.
A long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys, they live in nurseries for 3 years, and then they go out into the ocean.
That's quite. Yeah.
But it is a relatively slow growing process, and they have a overall low fecundity. Although their litters are large, their gestation is long, and their mortality rate amongst the young is very, very high. Even though mangroves are a great place to be. Do you remember you did a news article about an osprey that picked up a hammerhead?
Yes, and dropped it and dropped the golfer's head.
Yeah, that was a baby, obviously.
Yeah.
So probably found it in a mangrove.
2 foot.
Yeah,
so number right. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But obviously this is a problem with their conservation status because they don't recover populations quickly against the kind of pressures, direct or indirect fishing places on them. The adults have no natural predators, however. So once they've reached adulthood, in theory, should be fine unless a boat comes along.
Yeah, boats are problematic.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. The scalloped hammerheads are the third largest of all the hammerheads, and they are, as we say, the most common, yet in some very deep water when it comes to their overall survival. So yeah, like I say, I didn't get to see any hammerheads when my wife and I went to Galapagos a couple of years ago. Have you seen any hammerheads? Ever seen them?
No, I've never seen them.
I would like to. They're very, very cool sharks.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I think I'm trying to think if I what sharks I've seen in the wild. I think it's only one type, which was dog shark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw white-tip reef in Galapagos.
Did you?
Lots and lots of them. Yeah.
I think that's the more aggressive of the two.
Between the white and the black tip.
Yeah.
They weren't aggressive to us, I have to say.
Did they offer you a drink?
No, they didn't do so much. They were in like a little like a canyon sort of area. So quite a sheltered area. So behind some rocks. So you had the sea, and then you had behind a bunch of rocks in like a long canyon. And you could just see them. Most of them just sitting on the bottom chilling. So yeah. They were neither here nor there. They weren't aggressive. They weren't unaggressive. Just minding their own business.
Yeah. As it should be. Yeah.
As well it should be.
Undisturbed. They are cool hammerheads though. They're serious business.
Yes. I mean there's 9 other species if you want to delve into another one. Like the bonnethead is quite a unique one because it's not a full hammerhead, but it is a hammerhead.
I will look into them. But I would love to see the shoaling kind of murmuration of hammerheads. So that'd be really cool.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Okay, so one shark left.
One shark left.
Over to pre-recorded Gareth.
Yes.
Well, pre-recorded all of us.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello there. I'm back. Although I'm not. I just appeared. And also the furniture's moved around as well.
It has.
It's me from the past in the future, in the present. Somewhere. I don't know, some sort of time paradox. But I'm here to do my shark bit. So
Yeah.
well, whereas you guys have looked at, I'd say, much larger sharks than mine. I mean, yours certainly is.
Yeah.
Might be on a par with yours, actually. I think
mine are still a bit bigger, but
yeah.
Certainly, it's still a big shark.
Certainly
but...
more famous as well. But this is a shark I think that should be as famous, if not, maybe not more famous. I suppose it's not exactly what you'd consider a man-eating shark.
I mean, it's not a competition.
Best shark, best in show.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm looking at the blue shark, my favorite species of shark. It's scientifically known as Prionace glauca. Now, this name gives insight into both its anatomy and its appearance. Prionace derives from the Greek prion, and it actually has nothing to do with prions as in bovine spongiform encephalopathy, mad cow disease.
Right, okay.
I was going to say,
Which is caused by a prion. It's got nothing to do with it. Prion in that sense is actually an acronym, which in the process of doing this, I completely discovered that prion has no connection to the Greek wording prion, which actually means saw, which is a sharp point or tip. So it's to do basically with the shape and arrangement of its teeth, which resemble that of a small saw blade, which is well adapted for cutting through flesh. Now, the glauca bit is Latin glaucus, meaning blue or blue-grey. The Greeks and the Latin languages actually have
they don't have a different word
for blue
and green and bronze,
and they all sort of blend in together.
Yeah.
There's many countries actually don't have a specific blue color. But the other thing that glaucus might draw to mind is Glaucus atlanticus, the sea slug that you occasionally see people picking up and not realizing that they are incredibly venomous.
What they call the blue dragon, isn't it?
Yeah, really pretty little things.
Looks
but
like a Pokemon.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So this describes the shark's striking coloration, especially its iridescent cobalt blue dorsal sides.
Yep.
So it is really pretty. So much so that when at an aquarium a couple of years ago, and my child was looking at the cuddly toy sharks, I sort of steered him in the direction, not of the great white or the hammerhead that was there, or just a random coloured shark, but definitely the one that was essentially a blue shark. And
did you notice how he deliberately chose our two species?
Yeah, he did.
I'm sorry, but those two are far more popular sharks.
From Megalodon? No, he went for
all right. If they had a cuddly toy megalodon, you know. Anyway, I mean, yeah. So the blue shark is one of the most elegant and recognizable pelagic sharks in the world.
Yeah,
it's slender and streamlined. It's built for endurance, swimming across long distances. Think of it a bit like the greyhound of the shark world, because it's fast, it's light, and it's sort of stretched out in many ways. That deep cobalt blue on the top side, fading to lighter blue on the side, and then bright white, almost a silvery color underside provides camouflage from above and below in what's called counter shading. And in fact, I think all of our sharks have got counter shading to some degree, more so in your species because it's a predator coming up on things. And mine because it's probably prey for a lot of larger sharks if they get a chance to get close to it
or catch it.
But hopefully its speed keeps it out of the way. So its long conical snout and large eyes, which I think give it a really cute appearance, and I don't say cute about many animals, but
no, that didn't sound right.
No. I mean, I think I really do think it's got a lovable face. But those large eyes help it to detect prey in open water, while its long, curved pectoral fins basically aid in efficient cruising. Think of them like small plane wings, essentially, making it a lot easier to put minimal effort into going through open water. These guys live in what is essentially a desert in some ways because it's open water. There's very little in between when they find prey and when they next find prey.
The ocean is a desert with its life underground, isn't it? What song's that from?
Oh, a horse with no name.
Yes, a horse with no name. You're welcome.
Anyway, back on the topic. So size and weight. These are not the biggest sharks. They can vary greatly in size depending on their age and their sex, but length, they only grow up to about 3.8 meters, which is not a massive shark.
Still pretty big, though, isn't it?
It's big, but
it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's longer than we are tall.
it's small for a shark in some ways. And they average around about 2.5 meters, though. The minimum that you'll tend to see them is usually less than 1 meter at birth. So juveniles, which are
They come out at 1 meter long.
Yeah, they're a long, thin shark.
Yeah,
They're basically a noodle.
yeah.
Tubular.
But yeah, they are live birth givers because they're out in the ocean. There's no way you can sort of attach an egg to anything, so they're live bearers. They weigh up to about 206 kilos. That's hefty for an animal that is quite long and thin. Mm-hmm. They average around 70 to 130 kilos, though. Males tend to be smaller than females, and just that little bit, sort of sexual dimorphism.
That's just a little bit more sexual.
Just a bit more sexual.
We've established that the males are sexier.
Sexy sharks. So their teeth are like I said before, they're like a saw blade. So they're triangular and serrated in both jaws, and these teeth are perfect for slicing through soft-bodied prey, which is usually things like squid and small fish. And unlike some sharks with crushing or gripping teeth, the blue shark's teeth allow for it to quickly slash and consume its fast-moving prey or slippery prey in the open ocean.
I'm a slasher, and I need to be stopped. That's what they are.
Yes, they are. They're not found in Sandford, though. They're also a bit of a cleanup crew. They'll quite happily find like dead whale, dead seabird, anything that's just sort of floating at the surface. They'll track down using their exceptional sense of smell and come in and clear it up, which makes them really, really useful in keeping the ocean clear, which is pretty much the same for all sharks, really.
I was about to say it's pretty much the same for all predators.
Yeah.
This whole weird thing, I think it's mostly with this whole Tyrannosaurus thing. Like, I think people need to get over the fact that the predators are both hunter and scavenger.
Yes. So their habitat, they are cosmopolitan, meaning that they are found in temperate and tropical oceans worldwide. You will find them all over the place. They prefer open ocean, which is known as pelagic waters, but sometimes will come closer to shore. And their global range, like I say, it's the Atlantic, the Pacific, and Indian Ocean. So you'll find them pretty much anywhere, from the subarctic to tropical waters, but they prefer around 12 to 20 degrees in temperature. And the best place in the UK to see them, because this is a species that is on my list. I keep wanting to go and see these. You can do shark diving.
I think you've been talking about this since the podcast's inception.
Before that, yeah. It's been on my list for a long time. It's just kind of pricey to do. That's part of it. So blue sharks are regular summer visitors to the British Isles, particularly from June to October. Southwest England is the top hotspot, so Cornwall, out from like Penzance and Falmouth. The Isles of Scilly, the Isles of Scilly is, well, it's a silly place for wildlife. There is an awful lot of it in and around those islands that is worth going to. Occasionally, you'll find them off Pembrokeshire in Wales and Western Scotland. So a little bit like with the leatherback turtle, they're following the food that comes up in the summer. Now, several shark snorkeling and conservation tours do operate up and down the country. There's one that I keep meaning to try and go down and do in Cornwall. But like I say, they can be kind of pricey to do. So, yeah.
We were actually... This will probably come up at the beginning of the episode, but you weren't here for that because this is in the past. We went to Cornwall very recently.
Last very recently.
Well, I was just thinking because
you just come back from it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
which is in the past of the past of this.
Yes, which is even further in the past, if you can imagine.
Fathom that.
We saw there were places that you could walk past. We were in Loo. And there was advertisements to go out and do blue shark.
I think that's where most of them go out.
And we were And my partner, Jess, and I were tempted. We looked at it and we said, we should just do that right now. And
Just to really annoy.
just to annoy Gareth.
Yeah, of course.
Because he said, oh, I've never got time to do it. And we just do it.
Thanks.
Just do it really spontaneous. We didn't in the end. So there's no footage or anything to show you. Sorry.
Well, there you go. As anecdotes go. So the blue shark is currently classified on the IUCN Red List as near threatened as of the latest assessment. And probably one of the problems with this is it's down to regional populations that are more vulnerable than others, and it's usually due to high fishing pressures. So the main threats, bycatch, is still a huge problem, even though there was a big push a while ago in the UK to try and reduce the amount of bycatch on things. It still happens all over the world, and with all sorts of different nets and fishing equipment, they can quite easily become entangled when even catching things like long lining for tuna and swordfish, all these sort of sport fish as well. Targeted for fins, this is a huge problem for all sharks. They are a major species that is targeted by the shark fin trade, which I think we're all...
I feel that they literally say that for every single shark species.
Pretty much.
This is a major component of the global shark fin trade.
I mean, these guys do get targeted an awful lot because they are relatively easy to sort of bait in some places.
Sure.
But I mean, it doesn't matter the species.
No.
Shark fin is such a stupid thing that we are, a stupid and cruel thing that we are doing to this amazing group of animals, where the animal is hauled out of the water, has its fins hacked off, and then thrown back in the water to drown.
It's illegal in the UK.
But that doesn't mean that you can't find shark fins in certain markets.
Well, in certain restaurants as well. There is actually, if you go online, there is actually, I can't remember what the website is, which is really bad of me, but there's a website where you can report if there is shark fin soup being offered. And they are pretty good at cracking down on it.
I mean, my biggest problem I have with it, apart from obviously the huge impact on shark populations, is you're eating cartilage, which doesn't have any taste to it. If you want to eat something that's tasteless, go and boil a cabbage or something and eat that in a soup and charge stupid money for it, you know? Yeah. Don't do it. It's stupid. And like Aaron said, there are sites that you can report these things on if you manage to come across it.
I mean, most of the people obviously listening wouldn't be having shark fin soup.
They'll all be sat there at home eating their shark fin soup.
Yeah. But the majority of the population of the world won't be having shark fin soup either. It is a rich food stuff. It is part of the privileged few.
Another reason to eat the rich, I suppose.
Or another reason to eat the rich, yeah, exactly. They'll probably taste better too. It's a wealth problem.
Yeah.
Shark fin soup.
So climate change, unfortunately, is another one that's affecting these animals. Like I say, they have a preferred range of temperatures. And if you start affecting the ocean temperatures, it affects the food chain, and it'll also affect their migration patterns of the prey. But there are several organizations and initiatives that are working to protect the blue shark. And these are some of the sort of key groups. You've got the Sharks Trust in the UK, which do amazing work to try and stop the shark fin trade. They promote citizen science through sightings and reportings, and generally give a lot of really good information as well. Their website is fantastic. They support sustainable fisheries policies as well. You've got the Marine Conservation Society, who also do a huge amount of work in the UK to help promote awareness of UK species. You've got the International Commission for Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, even though obviously these guys aren't a tuna. They regulate bycatch and shark catch quotas in the Atlantic. And we've seen that within the last sort of 10 years or so, tuna are back in UK waters. So, I mean,
It's working. Yeah. Something's working.
Calls for better data collection on shark landings as well is part of their remit. And Oceania, a global organization working to ban shark finning, pushing for more species-specific protections in international waters to help these animals out as well. So the blue shark is, like I say, it's a mesmerizing inhabitant of the open ocean. I think they're one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful shark.
I wouldn't disagree at all.
Yeah, no disagreement.
Like I said, they are efficient and ecologically important. They are cleanup crews in the open ocean. And while it remains relatively common increasing threats from fisheries and environmental change will demand greater conservation action. And with proper protections, we can ensure that this graceful predator continues to glide through our seas for generations to come. Well, there you go. Should we swim on in to our emails for this week? In fact, I'm going to swim on away. Yeah. So yeah, I'll see you all in a while.
Bing! You've got mail. Ooh, it's an email.
And we're into our interaction bag.
Yes,
I think that's what we call it.
That's what you call it.
Bag of interactions.
Bag of interactions. Yeah, either way. Yeah.
Corner of interactions. We do need a better name.
What, than emails?
Than emails, because it's not.
It's very grandad.
Not just emails. Yeah. Smoke signals. Wolf howls.
Yes.
What else travels a long way? Lion roars.
Misinformation.
Misinformation.
That travels a really long way.
I know. Maybe we don't want to.
This is the misinformation segment. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get right into it. The question that we posed you with our last recording was, what's your favorite shark species? Of course, we were probably all hoping that we were going to be covering at least one species that someone likes. So, we'll dive on in. So we got a few answers this week, which is cool because sharks definitely deserve the love. First up comes to us from Kelsey Watts, who says, hammerhead shark. Do you remember that old cartoon in the 90s, Street Sharks? So badass. I do remember.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
It was like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the Biker Mice from Mars, but sharks.
Yeah.
And at one point,
yes,
they did the whole Power Rangers thing. I don't know if you watched Power Rangers.
Yeah, again, a long time
the Mighty
ago.
Morphin ones.
Yeah. Not now.
No.
I'm not watching it tonight.
I tried to rewatch it just for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
It's unwatchable. It's unwatchable.
Is it really?
So much so that it makes that Netflix version actually really good.
I haven't seen the Netflix version.
Worth a watch.
Okay.
But I mean, don't expect like Godfather. It's still Power Rangers, but much better. Anyway, basically, the whole reason I brought that up is because you had the main Power Rangers, and then the bad guys made a Power Ranger, the green one. And then he turns good.
Yeah.
In Street Sharks, they did the same thing. They had I think they had Great White, Hammerhead, Tiger, a couple others I can't remember. But then the bad guys made a Orca.
Yep.
But then the Orca turns good. He was the Green Ranger of the team. Wow. Yeah. So Street Sharks and Random Dolphin.
Yep.
Yes, I do remember Street Sharks. I love the Street Sharks, as well as as I say, the Biker Mice and the Turtles.
Yep, and the Power Rangers and the Godfather.
I did,
and all the other things you mentioned.
Yeah, I did love the Power Rangers at the time.
Yeah. Then we have a comment from the professors of the half, who said the frilled shark, lizard shark, or my preferred autocorrect fail, the grilled shark. I first heard about the shark at uni, and its odd appearance combined with a fact about a part of its biology made it stay with me, despite our knowledge of this odd creature not improving any since then. When I first saw the shark, it made me think of a salamander on steroids, combined with a whopping 3.5 year, 42-month gestational period, even longer than our sharks. It's one of those what the moments I've never forgotten.
Yeah.
And then she added Orla helicoprion, which is that shark.
Yeah, that's
the whirly.
The
big whirly boy.
Like the reciprocating saw of dental armory, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Helicoprion's a cool one. Okay, so Jem Babs also says the hammerhead sharks. They're just bonkers. Also, Greenland sharks. Greenland sharks are cool.
Yeah, they are cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Then Rachel Newton said starry smoothhound.
I like those too.
Yeah, very nice.
Very pretty shark. And Spencer Seams says, no one will pick this one, but the goblin shark. It has a charmingly freakish face that's really neat and makes it seem both deadly and a goofball, which Jem Babs has agreed to. And I agree too. That's why I did goblin shark for
like a
Halloween last year.
It was the first year.
Was it the first year? I thought it was last year.
It was the first year.
What did I do last year? Oh, wasn't it like Vampire Spider or something?
Yes.
Right, okay. Well, I did it for the first year then, the Goblin Shark. So if you like Goblin Sharks, go to our Halloween episode from
2001, 2001, sorry, 2021, God, we haven't been around that long.
We'll meet again, Spider Shark!
Do you know I'm something of a goblin shark myself? That's what we used to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was the. Was that the? No, it wasn't the first. It was the second one. It was
It
second.
might have been. It was either the first or second. I can't remember. No, it was
The first one was
no more mutants. Yes, it was the second.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, back in the day.
Back in the day.
They're a goblin
Oh.
Godspeed. Godspeed, Spider Shark.
I love Willem Dafoe. He's great.
Willem Dafoe is great. Anyway, the question for this week is we're going to kind of hint towards next week, but also throw back to the Rainforest special. We all had a different rainforest to cover for the rainforest special.
Yep.
And I asked the guys, we had to cut it, unfortunately, because of how long that episode was.
Yep.
But I did ask the guys, if you could pick a species from the rainforest you covered and drop it into another rainforest, and you think it would be successful there, what species would it be?
Yes.
So we'll throw that out to you guys.
Yeah.
If you could pick any species from any rainforest and pluck it out and put it into another rainforest in the world.
Is it still in the old rainforest?
Yeah. You're not taking all of them.
Sorry, you're taking a few.
You're taking a handful.
It's a translocation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're translocating one species that you think will be successful into another environment, another rainforest elsewhere, which species would you choose? And why, if you so care to answer a second part?
Yeah.
I can't remember what you answered, so
I think because I was a bit stumped for an answer, so I think I just said, "Hey, look, the ash black slug is."
Oh yes,
there's a lot going on with that slug,
Yes.
and I think every other forest needs that sort of body positivity and sexual freedom.
Fair shout.
Especially in Bolsonaro's Brazil.
Yes,
Which I know he's no longer
He's
in charge of
not,
anymore.
no.
He's gone, but he needed that.
he did need.
He needed to be slapped in the face by the sexual freedom of the ashback slug for his prejudice
Oh man,
on the table.
I think that's a fair answer. A fair answer. Yeah. My answer would be, because I obviously my rainforest was the Taman Negara in Malaysia.
Yes.
Or I should say Taman Negara, because that's how it should be pronounced. And unfortunately, my answer is not as comical as yours. Mine is pretty basic. I would pluck the leopard out of there, and I think you could drop it in. I mean, if you want to give all the cryptozoologists in Britain a wet dream, then just dump it in the Atlantic rainforest here, the Celtic rainforest here.
Yep.
But you could also.
It would do all right.
It would do all right.
I mean, we had leopards a long, long time ago.
Yes, and I argue to this day, even though I don't think they're out there now, this year, I open as a scientific person, I'm open to being proven wrong. But I do not think there is a substantial argument or evidence to say that they're out there now.
Yeah.
I think it's been too long. But I do believe, hand on heart, I do believe people did release leopards and pumas.
Yeah, probably.
Probably others too. But I believe that of the kind of larger size cats, I won't say big cats because pumas aren't big cats.
Yeah.
But I do believe that of the larger size cats, it's only the leopard and the puma that would have survived, because they are the most adaptable cats.
Yes.
Of that size.
Yeah.
But I also believe that if you were to pluck a leopard out of Taman Negara and plonk it into the Amazon, which was Gareth's rainforest,
yes,
I think it would do very well there. It would not outcompete the jaguar.
No.
It would have to find its own niche, but it would outcompete the cougar, which is also there, which means that the cougar would have to find its own, like a new niche again, element. But yeah, that's what I would choose. Yeah. So, throwing the question out to you guys, if you could pick a rainforest species, pluck it out of its home and put it into another, which species would it be and why?
Yeah, there you
go. If Gareth didn't pick hyacinth macaw, just to boost its numbers in somewhere that isn't controlled by Bolsonaro. I know it's not controlled by Bolsonaro now, very out of date. But a safer but almost identical kind of environment, then I think Gareth's missing a trick there.
Yeah.
Do you remember what he answered? Because I don't.
I don't remember what you
I would have gone with hyacinth macaw if it was them.
Yeah.
Just take them out, section off a bit of the Tamangara, and put them in that little bit.
Very, very worthy creature feature, hyacinth.
I think so.
Yeah. Or Leas, which are the smaller hyacinths, but more endangered.
Yeah.
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 All I can say on that is What Rio. It's a good movie. About hyacinth macaws.
That's about Spix macaws.
Is it Spix? I thought it was hyacinth.
It's Spix.
Spix, is it? Oh, well. Fair enough.
Like, because you said hyacinth, and I thought, does he mean Spix? Because they're the really endangered ones.
It might have been Spix that I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Hyacinth's endangered anyway, though. Let's Google check it.
Google check it, because it might just be vulnerable hyacinths. They're the biggest, and I would argue the most beautiful macaw. I love hyacinths.
Vulnerable.
Well, they're vulnerable.
Yeah. So answer that question and try and get your macaws round the right way. I'm all right. I can let myself off because I'm still learning birds. Learning birds. They kind of came into my career towards the end of my time zookeeping. So yeah.
Yes.
So we do have some comments from on our YouTube regarding this question.
So we've got one from Rosalie, who said, for this week's question of favourite shark species, I'll be nominating 2 species, one of them being the Port Jackson shark.
Okay.
It's quite cool. Spoilers to my second species, but I think the smaller sharks are just cute. I love the colouring and the patterning on Port Jacksons, and their mouth shape is kind of different than a lot of other sharks. My second shark suggestion is the bonnethead. There we go. That's the little hammerhead. Their small size is cute overall, and I like the shape of their hammerhead. A bit softer than other species. Also eat a lot of seagrass, making them, I'm pretty sure, the only shark species that practices omnivorous behaviours regularly. That's interesting.
Maybe deliberately, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I believe, is it basking shark or whale shark? One of the two does consume phytoplankton as well as zooplankton.
I'm fairly sure that basking sharks are just zooplankton.
Then it might be whale sharks that eat both planktons.
So continuing, sharks are obviously a mainly carnivorous group of animals, so it's interesting to see a sort of outlier in the group. Brings in interesting speculation of could the bonnethead give rise to a lineage of herbivorous sharks and the possibility of what extinct sharks also practice omnivorous behaviours. Well, as we've suggested, there's lots of years of evolution of sharks there.
Yeah.
We could have had all sorts about that.
50 million years.
Yeah.
Sharks on Earth.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then one last comment on here from Jess. That's my partner, who said, really funny, love this one. Thanks, Jess, for the support.
Very good.
Slight bias there, maybe.
Well, everybody has their biases.
Yeah.
So we're going to roll on into our emails next. We got a couple kind of hanging around for a bit, so we do apologize for that. But some of our episodes have run a bit long, and we haven't wanted to bore you to death with our content.
No. In as much as we try to negate that.
But the ones that seem to be hanging around right now come to us from one of our wonderful Patreon supporters, Jen Greenhall. I'll read her first one out. Jen, we are going to read yours out in a bit of a different order to how you sent them in. We're going to skip one and do it probably next week or the week after.
Yes.
But we will get to them, so we do apologise for this delay. Anyway, Jen titles her email Question of the Week. Hello, lovelies. I hope you're all well. It was lovely to see Drew last week, and it was an exceptional episode. Big Pumba did make me chuckle about radioactive Burnley. Having worked in Burnley, I think it is a perfect candidate for this kind of speculative evolution event. When I think of my time there, it was always raining. So
acid rain?
Acid rain, yeah. Acid rain.
Yeah, don't take the milk out. No.
So, a plant I love that others don't. Welsh poppies, because they self-seed, look beautiful, flower for ages, and bees love them. We have loads, and the neighbours have given up trying to get us to do something about them, because I like them, so they are staying. One neighbour trimmed a beautiful red self-seeded poppy the other day, and has consequently gone down in my estimation further than he has already. Oh dear.
Oh.
It wasn't one of those big blousy jobs, just a simple poppy, minding its own business, but didn't fit with the tidiness of his garden. I also like ferns and bracken. I like the way they uncurl when they are growing, making them look ancient, which they are, of course, not flowering, etc. Which brings me on to horsetails. Love the fact that they are super ancient too and practically indestructible despite human efforts.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good pick.
There is something so intriguing about plants that just will not back down and die. Well, you've covered a couple, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
When I was doing my equine qualifications about 35 years ago, I'm not sure if I was supposed to read that bit out. Sorry, Glenn. The book stated that in some parts of the country, down your way, no doubt, bracken should be used as bedding for horses. Not to forget ragwort, quite an attractive plant, but hated by practically everyone who's ever had anything to do with horses. Attached are pictures of an uncurling male fern I took in the spring. Keep up the good work, from Jen.
So very much, Jen.
Thank you for your email, Jen. Yeah, I don't think I've got anything to add to what she said, really. I agree with everything.
No.
Oh, she did mention ferns being ancient. Yeah, tree ferns were actually dinosaur food for some of the herbivores.
Yes.
Obviously not T-Rex. Maybe floss.
Well, again, we don't know that evolution's had all this time.
Yeah.
We don't know if there was a herbivorous tyrannosaurid.
It may have been a vegan tyrannosaur.
There could have well been.
Yeah,
we just don't know.
yeah.
At the same time as the vertical-headed hammerhead shark.
We call that the Mjolnir shark.
Mjolnir. Oh, that'd be good. That's a really good name. Yeah. Yes.
I believe you got another from Jen.
So yeah, we've got another one from Jen, and it's in response to the last episode, so the ragwort one. And she says, "Hello, you lovely lot. Best wishes to Gareth, by the way. Yeah, he's doing good.
Yeah.
Again, he did everything.
He did.
He did everything.
He did everything. We're all very proud.
We are very proud of him. Said, lovely to hear Drew. Oh, that's me. And he did ragwort proud. Oh, thank you. He didn't need to give the warning of upsetting people. I was not offended at all. Well, I feel like I do somewhat.
Jen has a background in
horses. Yes.
Well, so yeah.
Yeah.
But we did say, as you say, we had to cut it out. But we did actually wax lyrical about how much we love horses.
We did
in that episode. This is we decided to save that for the actual horse episode that we want to do.
Yes, absolutely. So she continues, as you know, I have horses and I've worked in the equine industry all my life, for the last 20 years teaching at a college. I am, however, aware of the niche ragwort fields in the biodiversity of our fields. I giggled at the comments about horses dying if they saw ragwort painted, a ragwort plant 500 meters away, particularly as I was driving along a dual carriageway, which was displaying a splendid crop, hoping no horses were being transported along there. Disappointed owners on reaching their destination to find their horses is no more.
Oh dear.
The hysteria around ragwort is crazy, and your article was a learning experience in so many ways, particularly the manipulation of data to make sensational headlines. One of the challenges around grazing is that horses are designed to eat rough, poor value grasses. That's a fair point, actually. Yes, that is true. Something that, again, we've got limited time to sort of spell out everything.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff I omitted from it, or I just didn't get a chance to cover, and I apologise for any discrepancies and from omissions. Basically,
You should be thoroughly ashamed. Hang your head in shame.
Yes. I'm not ashamed. But many have, she said that many have issues with their weight, this is horses, and improved grassland can trigger metabolic reactions like laminitis. Yes, that's true. Because my landlord, who used to live behind his ponies, got laminitis if they had fresh grass too often.
Yeah.
So yes, that's absolutely true as well, and something that should be taken into account. So rough/poor grazing is preferable. There is a fine line between poor grazing and overgrazed land, which may be ideal for ragwort. Absolutely good. Absolutely fair. I do pull it from my fields, but quite happy for it to grow anywhere else and leave it be. That's absolutely fine as well. Yeah. I think it's completely reasonable. I did not know that so many species relied on ragwort. That was quite mind-blowing. And that generally one plant will produce one plant, which is as much as can be expected. That is, as I said in the actual episode itself, because I found that bit of information and I had to really dig down deep to find out really just one plant replaces one plant. Is that true? Because lots of plants spread. But that's why I said in the episode it's at the equilibrium.
Yeah.
When you're at the equilibrium, And basically, that's not just plants. There's all species, really. Every species is just sort of replacing its own. They get to a certain number that they can maintain, and then they just replace themselves.
Yeah.
They can't go above that because they then start to eat everything.
Yeah.
And they then drop down a number. So this fluctuation is a constant. That's nature.
Well, that's why you need balance in an ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's why I'm such a huge advocate for things like pine marten,
Yes.
red squirrel, grey wolves,
Yes.
beavers, all these things coming back to the UK because our ecosystem is out of equilibrium.
Yes. So yeah, like if you've got equilibrium, ragwort will just replace one and one. If you don't have equilibrium, it can spread, or it could all die out. She then finishes with, as I was driving along, I go off down a rabbit hole thinking of the plight of ragwort. Could be a metaphor for life and society when, through poor education, neglect and understanding, people are discriminated against. But that's how my brain works. I mean, that's a good analogy. Yeah.
That is actually, it was kind of what I was jabbing at, really.
Yeah.
I was using, well, you were using ragwort, I was using wolves and other things.
That's that analogy, yeah.
It does seem that the British people in particular have to have an enemy, and they have to use excessive propaganda to overkill the point that this thing is not what we want.
Yeah. And then she finished just by saying, I would wear a ragwort t-shirt down the pub. I mean,
I hope it's a rural pub.
If you genuinely want a ragwort t-shirt, Jen, I'll make you one.
So you can probably tell you can get in contact with us in a myriad of ways. You've heard from some Facebook comments, you've heard from YouTube comments, and you've heard from emails. But you can also get in contact with us via Instagram and TikTok, or indeed our Patreon page. And we're going to talk, or at least past Gareth and past Gareth, past Gareth and past Gareth, past Gareth and past Aaron are going to talk about that now.
Every week, we like to give a little love back by shouting out the names of our wonderful Patreon supporters.
That's right. These are the cupboard dwellers who are kind enough to support us through a monetary contribution, for which we are eternally grateful.
And those people are, of course, Fogtober, Jen Greenhall, Connie P, Chelsea McKee, Nick to Nick,
Owen Cox,
and Matt Geddy.
Guys, your financial contributions are actively helping us out here in the Natural History Cupboard in a myriad of ways, including developing our new studio, planning excursions and being able to go out and film on location, considering technical upgrades, and actually making the jump from a solely audio-based podcast to the now growing YouTube channel. And we really can't thank you enough for that.
Now, we appreciate all of our cupboard dwellers and the support you offer us through listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing. But if you feel we've earned it and you're considering joining our Patreon, there are two options through which you can do so.
That's the Nature Nerds and the Animal Ambassador tiers, which you can find on the Patreon website or links through our social media as well. And each one having different benefits for you to enjoy.
And now back to Gareth and Aaron in the studio.
And thank you very much for our Patreon support. But that basically brings us to the end of another episode. Drew, we've survived 3 weeks without the professor?
Yeah.
Is it 2 weeks?
It's two
technically.
It's two technically, isn't it?
Yeah. But I cannot believe he's managed to go more than a week.
I know.
In the cupboard here,
he's got the sweats. He must have the sweats right now.
Probably worse than we do in this room. I don't know if you can pick this up on the
smell cam. Yeah,
but sweating so much in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening along to what has been a really, for us, a very fun episode to do. Looking into sharks is always cool. Firstly, I should say thank you to you for coming in and backing me up again.
Oh, that's all right. You're welcome. Also, I like your t-shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot again. Do you want to tell us about Teemill?
Teemill is where you can get this t-shirt, and a myriad of others. And if you want a ragwort t-shirt, I'll do that. But yeah, go out and have a check of those out. That's a great way of supporting us. We get a little bit from that, as well as the patrons.
Yeah, and once again, Drew does all the artwork, so it's really an amazing effort. So thank you.
All right,
and thank you to you guys for listening. And we'll see you next time here in the Natural History Cupboard. Goodbye.
Bye.
So, Drew, I've got a shark joke I've literally just made up here and now. I think it's a good one.
That's very impressive.
I think some of our long-term listeners are going to get a kick out of this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, knock, knock.
Who's there?
A shark.
Shark who?
Shark that can breed witters better than Gareth.
Wow. That is a good joke.